This is big breaking news. The federal government just closed another massive bank in the United States of America. This is the second bank this weekend that has been closed in the U.S. This is devastating. This is affecting thousands of companies and millions of people. Their money has just evaporated. All right. This is very dangerous for the United States, and the contagion is already spreading. The second bank has already closed in the United States this weekend. This is absolutely insane. This just happened. This just broke a few hours ago, Sunday afternoon. The federal government just shut down this bank in New York. And things are going to be absolutely insane tomorrow in the markets. So be prepared for that if you have any investments. Let's dive into this news here. People are waiting blocks around the bank to get their money out right now. The federal government just closed another bank, and they are declaring emergency powers right now to deal with this situation. We are in a crisis. We are in an emergency, and this could spread very quickly, very fast. All right. So let's get into this bank here. Another bank has been closed by the federal government. This just happened. This is big breaking news. Regulators closed New York's Signature Bank, citing systematic risk. This is huge. This is a massive bank in New York, a statewide bank, and another one has been closed on top of the Silicon Valley Bank, which we will get into more details of that in just a second, because the fallout is going to be massive, and thousands of companies are not able to pay their employees from this bank fallout. We will get into all that in just a second, but just having two banks in one weekend close is a major red flag. I thought this one bank closing was bad and the fallout from it, but this is a sign that this is systematic and this is nationwide, and we could see massive issues, and it makes sense to what has been happening the past few years. All right, we shut down our economy, shut down all the businesses, we printed massive amounts of money injected into the economy. There was massive inflation. We raised interest rates to get rid of the inflation and put a stop on the money liquidity. All right, so now the banks don't have as much money and people are struggling, and we are in a non-growth scenario for our economy, essentially a recession scenario for our economy. And this is huge that banks now aren't even able to give people the money they need for their deposits. That's why this bank has been shut down. Another bank shut down, and another one too is warning people that, hey, everything's okay, because people are worried that it's going to shut down too. We will get to that bank in just a second. But the fallout is spreading from the Silicon Valley Bank as well. You can see here Etsy, one of the biggest online sellers for people to sell their own goods. It's a lot like eBay, but it's for crafts, things that you make yourself, and you can sell on Etsy. And they are telling sellers that they are not going to get their payments, and their payments are going to be delayed for this closure of Silicon Valley Bank. So this is huge. This is affecting thousands of companies, and employees are not able to get paid from their employers because they have all their funds in this bank. And some companies had billions of dollars in single accounts in this bank, because you're supposed to be able to trust the bank, and they are only secure up to $250,000, which is honestly nothing for a lot of these companies. It's absolutely insane that this is happening, and it's going to create a scenario where money is going to be moved around and create even more potential liquidity issues. So it's really hard to say what you should do with your money if you have money in these banks. I was thinking, this is just my theory, all right, this is not financial advice or anything like that, but I was thinking potentially transferring your money to some kind of other account, some kind of other valuable asset, and just leave your money in that for a little bit and then cash it out of there, because you might not be able to get cash out of these banks if you just show up and need cash, you're not going to be able to get it. But the digital money might still be there in your account, and you might be able to transfer it somewhere else, transfer it to a different bank, transfer it to a different kind of account, an asset account, anything like that, potentially to just get your money out of there right now, because you're not going to be able to just go get a check, go get a cashier's check for all your money, or go get cash out. It's just not going to happen right now. So that's what I thought. That's what I would probably do, is try to transfer my money somewhere else, wire it somewhere else, buy it, invest it in something else, just to get it out of those banks. And you can see here just these companies alone, and there are thousands of companies that have money. I believe it's over 1,500 at least have been reported that have money in Silicon Valley Bank. But here are just some of the top ones that have disclosed how much money they had in the bank. And you can see here some companies have billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars in this bank, and it's only insured for $250,000. They need that money to pay their employees. They need that money for purchase orders. They need that money for cash flow. They need that money to pay all of their overhead monthly expenses. And now that money has been locked out. This is insane. And another bank just collapsed today. We're going to see all the companies and all the people that had money in this bank as well. And this is already spreading. And they're saying another bank might collapse too. This is insane. If you have stocks or investments in any of these companies, there's literally over 1,500. So a lot of companies, but if you have investments, look out for them to go down. All right. And if you don't have investments, maybe this is a good time to buy these companies while they're down. Might be a good time. Once again, not financial advice, but that's potentially what I would do. And this is what's coming next to America. All right. Massive riots. This is already happening in France over pension reform. So they're essentially changing the Social Security age to, I think, like 62 to 65. They're raising it a few years up, and people are having massive riots and protests in France. And the police are coming out and just beating people and dispersing people, hitting them with these clubs, and they're rushing at them. I was watching this video, and I'm normally against these massive riots or anything like that, but these people were just standing there, and the cops just rushed them and started beating them to disperse them and get them out of this area. And this is just from a pension reform. All right, just imagine if all the banks collapse in America. It would be this times 100 in the United States. It would be chaos. There'd be buildings would be burned. Their riots in France are a lot more tame than the ones we normally have here. Things normally resort to violence and chaos instantly in the United States. Buildings start getting burned. And just last month in Atlanta, a Wells Fargo bank was broken into because there was a massive riot in Atlanta. All right, just for no reason. The bank was broken into, destroyed. So imagine if people couldn't get their funds out of the bank. It would be chaos, and it would be insane in the United States. And internationally, these countries just lose confidence in the United States as well. And situations like this put the U.S. dollar reserve status at risk, because people wonder, hey, these banks can't even get money for their own citizens. How are they going to be a reserve? How stable is this currency for us as a reserve currency, right? And countries all over the world are already abandoning the dollar. They are moving towards the yuan. They are moving towards using other countries' currencies. There's a BRICS nation alliance that's going on. Brazil, Russia, India, China. That's going on right now. And they are trying to develop their own world reserve currency. So these things are happening. There's a lot of pressure on the dollar. And anything like this could be used to undermine its world reserve currency status. And the feds are even declaring an emergency over this because things are getting so bad here. It says U.S. plans emergency measures to backstop banks after the Silicon Valley Bank. So they are making plans to potentially back and bail out these banks and their deposits and everyone's deposits in there, which is one of these things. Your money should be safe in the bank. You should be able to put your money in the bank, and it shouldn't be a worry at all. But we don't want this to be a recurring theme. The CEO of this company sold all his stocks right before this collapse, and the employees were giving themselves bonuses and everything the same day that the feds raided their company and shut it down. The same day, the morning of, they were paying themselves bonuses and all this stuff because they knew what was about to happen, and they were just giving themselves a little bit more out of the pot. It's just absolutely sick. It just incentivizes behavior like that as well. It's like, oh, this will just be bailed out by the taxpayers, and then it's just more money printed, more inflation, more. It's just like more on top of the scam, and just makes it even worse in the long run. Anyways, that's the problem with these bailouts. But at the same time, your money should be safe in there, so somebody should secure it. And honestly, the whole fractional reserve banking thing is such a scam. And there are even talks of another bank that could potentially collapse as well. First Republic Bank is coming out and trying to reassure their customers, saying our capital remains strong. But if you look here, people are lining up outside of this bank trying to get their money. Massive lines all around the block, and this is happening at First Republic banks all over California. And somebody pointed out something weird about this picture in the comments of this on Twitter. And by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter, go follow me on Twitter. I post exclusive stuff on there that I just can't even post on here a lot of times. So go do that for me, please. But check out this. Somebody posted this on the comments, pointing out how this picture is so weird. This guy is wearing this weird shirt that has 33 on it, and he's wearing skull shoes. Just strange, just random. It could be nothing. It could be a complete coincidence, but it just was kind of weird that this person posted this picture on Twitter, and they just happened to stand there with the 33 and the skull as well. Could be absolutely nothing, but I believe they are trying to collapse the system. They're trying to implement the mark of the beast system with this collapse of the US dollar. They want to implement a digital currency, and they want to be able to track and trace everything, and they're going to connect it to carbon credits and carbon allotments, and everything you do will have an allotment attached to it, and you'll only be allowed to do certain things based on your credits. All right, this is what's coming very soon in the future, and they also will be able to block certain purchases with this digital currency. All right, they could say, hey, you can't buy these certain items, you're not allowed to buy this or whatever, and it's just permanently blocked. You are never allowed to buy it because the only kind of currency is a digital currency. So this is what they're heading towards, and they're also moving towards this mark of the beast system, and they want to track, trace everything you buy and sell, and they want to exclude certain groups out, specifically Christians. They want to target them. This is fact. And they want to exclude them out of this system, and also other certain groups, they want to target them and exclude them out of this system, and only have their perfect little dystopian citizen inside their system, and only they have access to society. All right, and everyone else that doesn't follow along, that doesn't conform, they will be kicked out, and they will be ostracized, and they will not be allowed to access the goods. All right, so make sure you are getting prepared. Make sure you're getting stocked up now on everything you can get, because we are getting very close to a complete banking collapse. We could wake up tomorrow and it could be Bank of America, Chase, all these, Wells Fargo. We already had a Wells Fargo glitch. Remember that video I made a couple of days ago on the same day that this Silicon Valley bank collapsed? We could wake up tomorrow and see any of these scenarios play out. It's going to happen fast. The banking collapse. It's going to be swift. It's going to be fast. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to affect everything. So make sure you are prepared. Make sure you do have some cash on you. Make sure you have some kind of coins. Make sure you have seeds. All right, seed packets. When it really hits the fan, those little packets you could buy at Home Depot or whatever, those will be very valuable. You can trade those. You can use those as a monetary system for people when it really hits the fan. They will want seeds. They will want to be able to grow their own food, and you can trade that for other goods. All right, you're going to be bartering if the banks go down. So get prepared now, guys. Stock up on little things like this that you could trade and that you can have a lot of. Thank you guys so much for watching me. Please hit that like for me. Please hit that sub. Please hit that bell for me too. Click all if you want to get notified for all my videos. I'm posting 1 to 2 videos every single day. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.